also mentioned, Madam Chair, that the resolution actually dealt with the definition of the term session day in relation to the counting of the days, of the session days within which the impeachment complaint filed against the Vice President was included in the order of business in the proceedings last year, and then subsequently referred to the Committee on Justice, in which case the Supreme Court said that the one-third impeachment complaint filed by more than one-third of the members of Congress was barred. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, parliamentary inquiry.
The Honorable Garbin is recognized.
The Supreme Court held that Article 11, Section 2, Section 3, Paragraph 2 imposes mandatory and non-discretionary duties on the House of Representatives. And in the said statement made by Vice Chair Bell, the Supreme Court defined the session day as calendar days, not legislative session days. Would it affect the treatment on this committee on how do we proceed with the hearings, considering that the two impeachment complaint was filed and referred to this committee February 26, and with the January 26 and the recently enunciated case decided by the Supreme Court says that for purposes of impeachment, session day referred to Article 11, Section 3, Paragraph 2 should be interpreted as calendar days. So, Madam Chair, tanong ko po, yung 6th session day, since it was referred January 26, hanggang kailan po ba yun? Am I correct to say we have until May 26 to submit a report to the plenary?
Thank you for that question, Vice Chair Garbin. I understand that we have a lot of questions concerning the recent resolution of the Supreme Court, but we wish to confine our discussion for the purpose of our current impeachment proceedings to the question of whether or not that resolution will affect this impeachment proceeding, no? It was answered by Vice Chair Bell that the resolution pertains to the second mode of filing an impeachment, that is via one-third of the members of the House, whereas the present impeachment proceedings was done via the first mode, that is a complaint filed by private individual endorsed by a House member. Nevertheless, while the Chair wished to defer some questions to the decision of the House of Representatives as an institution, I would like to recognize Vice Chair Kit Flores also to share his insight on the question raised by the Honorable Vice Chair Garbin.
Madam Chair, thank you. Even with the new definition of the Supreme Court on what a session day is, the current complaints that we are tackling, Madam Chair, fall within the periods given by the Supreme Court. So I guess there is nothing yet to discuss as of now.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you. Just to raise again that the constitutional procedure decided by the Supreme Court deals with the period within which the committee and the House referral and the very definition of the session day. So I get it from Vice Chair Keith Flores that the same was properly observed, and that what I'm asking before this committee, Madam Chair, is that should we follow the new definition enunciated by the Supreme Court, that when we speak of session day, we will referred it and interpret it as calendar days.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Congressman Rufus Rodriguez is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I could foresee the reason why the Supreme Court did this. Because during the last Congress, the 19th Congress, there were so many, so many suspension of sessions. And so therefore, it took about more than a month to be able to refer. So it defeats the purpose, and I agree with the Supreme Court. We should never, suspend and suspend and suspend. No more adjournment of session, so that it will just be considered one session day. And it takes a month. It takes about more than 3 times 4, 12 session days. So therefore, we agree that it should be calendar days to make sure that the impeachment complaints are properly and on time, timely be referred to the Committee on Justice. So that is clear. We experienced that, and the Supreme Court saw that there is a way to be able to defeat the purpose of our constitutional provisions. So they have changed the constitutional provision. It is clear that they have, they have violated the Constitution, the Supreme Court, because it says calendar days. And calendar days is always the days of the calendar. It cannot be, the session days is clear as the sessions, Monday to Wednesday, and so forth. And so that is the reason why we have that. So now it is clear that we should have calendar days to be able to tackle all the impeachments. Others are coming. So therefore, we should be able to have calendar days. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
We appreciate the opinion of the Honorable Rufus Rodriguez. Nevertheless, we are requesting all the members to confine our discussions only to those questions which will be very necessary to be able to proceed in our current impeachment proceeding, no? So initially, we were asked by the Honorable Lord and Suwan, makakaapekto ba itong resolution na ito sa ating kasalukuyang impeachment proceedings sa Pangulo? Ang sagot po, hindi, sapagkat ang ating resolution po ay patungkol sa pangalawang mode ng pagsasampa ng impeachment complaint. That is by at least 1/3 of all the members of the House. Habang ito pong ating impeachment complaint laban sa Pangulo na kasalukuyan nating dinidinig ay isinampa sa pamamagitan po ng mga private individuals na inendorso naman ng ating mga House members. With that,
Madam Chair,
the Honorable Tino is recognized.
thank you. Madam Chair, gusto ko pala lang pong iparating sa committee na kahit po hindi ito yung second mode na endorsed ng 1/3, kung hindi ni-refer po sa Justice Committee, kaya nandito po tayo ngayon, pero hindi po ba may epekto pa rin sa timetable? Kasi sabi dito, determination of sufficiency in form, the Secretary General within 3 session days will return with a written explanation of insufficiency. So may mga sinasabi po, kailangan po na halimbawa, makapaglabas ng committee report ang Committee on Justice within 60 session days. So dahil po ang Supreme Court decision ay nagbigay ng bagong kahulugan sa session day bilang calendar day, may epekto po sa timetable. Hindi po ba?
The Chair agrees with the Honorable Tino, and with that, we will be deferring all these questions to the proper committee through the leadership of the House of Representatives. I wish to express that the Justice Committee is not in the proper position to pronounce whether or not we will be following every details of the resolution of the Honorable Supreme Court. We recognize, however, the presence of our Senior Deputy Majority Leader in the person of Congressman Noy Defensor. With that, we will proceed to our impeachment proceedings. The impeachment complaint, the first impeachment complaint filed by Attorney Andre R. De Jesus, was endorsed by the Honorable Representative from Pusong Pinoy Party List, Representative Journey Jet V. Nisay. And we are recognizing Representative Nisay for his endorsement of the impeachment complaint of Attorney De Jesus.
Good morning, Madam Chair, honorable members of the committee, and all the esteemed guests. Article 2 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution states that sovereignty resides in the people and all government authority emanates from them. Bilang kinatawan ng mamayang Pilipino at bilang House Deputy Minority Leader, humaharap tayo ngayon para sa konstitusyonal na proseso sa pananagutan ng mataas na opisyal ng bansa, na ngayon ay may alegasyon ng graft and corruption, culpable violation of the Constitution, at betrayal of public trust. Bago po ang lahat, nais kong bigyan diin na sa magiging impeachment proceedings na ito ay maging pundasyon nawa ang tama at patas na proseso. Ito rin ang pangunahin kong intensyon kung kaya't aking inendorso ang complaint na ito, ang madala sa nararapat na forum at dumaan sa wastong proseso. Tayo ay sumusunod at susunod sa bawat tamang prosesong idineklara ng batas. Unang-una, tiwala ako na ang impeachment complaint na aking inendorso ay sufficient in form. Batay sa ating rules kaugnay sa pag-evaluate ng impeachment complaint, ang isang impeachment complaint para maging sufficient in form must be verified by an affidavit that the complainant has read the complaint and that the allegations therein are true and correct of his personal knowledge or based on authentic records. This can also be checked sa page 13 ng nasabing complaint or sa verification page. Clearly, ang complaint na ito ay verified by an affidavit executed by Attorney Andre De Jesus, stating that he caused its preparation, that he has read and understood its contents, and that the allegations therein are true and correct based on his personal knowledge or on authentic documents. In the same affidavit attached to the complaint, Attorney De Jesus further swears that all factual allegations are supported by evidence and that this complaint is not filed to harass, delay, or otherwise increase the cost of litigation. Accordingly, para mag-comply sa formal requirements, ini-endorso ko ang impeachment complaint through a resolution of endorsement, duly signed and sworn to before the Honorable House Secretary General. Therefore, Madam Chair, in view of the foregoing, it is respectfully submitted that the impeachment complaint is sufficient in form and that it be allowed to proceed to the next stage of the proceedings. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Nisay. Now we proceed to the endorsement of the impeachment complaint filed by Lisa Maza, Teodoro Casino, Renato Reyes Jr., Attorney Nery Colmenares, and 32 other complainants. For this purpose, the Chair recognizes the Honorable Representative from ACT Teachers Party List, Representative Antonio L. Tino, and/or the Honorable Representative from Gabriela Women's Party List, Representative Sara I. Elago, and/or from Kabataan Party List, Honorable Representative Rene Luis M. Co. You are recognized.
Maraming salamat, Madam Chair. Pagtataksil sa tiwalang ipinagkaloob ng mamamayan, betrayal of public trust, yan ang ginawa ni Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. at ito ang dahilan kung bakit dapat siyang ma-impeach. Nakapaloob sa impeachment complaint na aming inendorso ang buong katotohanan na magtatahi at magbibigay linaw kung bakit sa ilalim ni Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. nangyari ang pinakamalaganap, sistematiko at sentralisadong paglimas ng pondo sa kaban ng bayan sa kasaysayan ng Republika mula nang mapatalsik ang diktador na si Ferdinand Marcos Sr. noong 1986 na naitala sa Guinness Book of World Records dahil sa ill-gotten wealth, following in the footsteps, like father, like son. Sa Sa unang 3 taon ng Administrasyong Marcos Jr., daan-daang bilyon ang pondong sangkot sa flood control corruption scandal. Nangyari ito hindi dahil sa kanya-kanyang diskarte ng ilang mga tiwaling opisyal ng DPWH, mga ganid na kontraktor at ilang korap na senador at kongresista o ng mga nasa ibaba, paligid at katabi ng Pangulo habang siya'y walang kamuwang-muwang at namulat na lamang sa katotohanan nitong SONA 2025 na may corruption pala sa gobyerno niya. Nangyari ito dahil pinahintulutan ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. na maging opisyal na patakaran ang pagpaparte ng DPWH budget sa mga opisyal ng Malacanang, Senado at Kongreso, yung tinatawag na allocables at non-allocables, para pagkakitaan ng mga kickback na tinatawag na ngayong commitment o advance. Ang pondong publiko napunta sa pansariling pakinabang. Yan ang unang pagtataksil ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. sa tiwala ng bayan. Hindi pa nabusog sa pondo ng DPWH, kaya nangyari sa ilalim ni Pangulong Marcos ang walang kapantay sa kasaysayan na paglobo ng unprogrammed appropriations. Ayon sa batas, tanging ang Pangulo ang may kapangyarihang mag-approve sa paggamit at pag-release ng pondo mula sa unprogrammed appropriations. Ginamit niya ang kanyang discretion para aprubahan ang 213 billion na dagdag na proyekto ng DPWH kasama ang 111 billion para sa flood control na pawang napunta sa corruption. Mas masahol pa, pinahintulutan niya at hindi pinigilan ang pagkuha ng 90 billion na pondo ng PhilHealth para gamitin sa infrastructure, bagay na tahasang labag sa sin tax law at dineklarang iligal mismo ng Korte Suprema. Pondo para sa kalusugan, dinala sa kurakot. Yan ang ikalawang pagtataksil ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. sa tiwala ng bayan. Ngunit, hindi lang command responsibility o sin of omission ang kasalanan ng Pangulo. Direktang nag-utos siya ng hindi bababa sa 100 billion na insertion sa 2025 budget at tumanggap ng hindi bababa sa 8 billion na kickback. Saan ginamit ang pera? May bahaging napunta sa personal, ngunit ang kalakhan ginamit para sa eleksyon. Ito ang sekreto sa likod ng pagbaha ng pera sa panahon ng eleksyon. Pera ng taong bayan, ginawang kickback mula sa kontraktor, pinambili ng boto para manalo at umulit ang siklo. Ganyan mismo ang ginawa ng Pangulo. Ito ang pinakadirekta at masahol na pagtataksil ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. sa tiwala ng bayan. Sa mga tagapagtanggol na nagsasabing siya nga ang unang naglantad ng flood control scam, paano mong sasabihin sangkot at pasimuno siya? Sabi ng mga nagrarally, Marcos, Duterte, walang pinag-iba. May batayan yan. Si Duterte may tokhang na kumitil sa libong buhay at may peking gera kontra droga na tumarget sa ilang drug lord. Yung pala, pangunahing protektor si Duterte ng sarili niyang mga drug lord habang pumusturang numero 1 kalaban ng droga. Si Pangulong Marcos naman, tinukhang ang bilyones na pondo ng taong bayan at naglunsad ng peking gera kontra korupsyon, kung saan siya ang bida, habang dinidiinan ang ilang korap, ngunit pinoprotektahan ang sarili at ang pinakamalapit niyang mga nandambong. Sufficient in form and substance ang complaint na aming inendorso. Wala tayong nakikitang dahilan para ibasura ng komiting ito sa napakaagang yugto at hindi pa abutin sa hearing. Nariyan lang sa tabi, nakatago sa publiko, ang dalawang opisyal na merong mga resibo at ledger na magpapatunay sa direktang papel ng Pangulo, pagtanggap niya ng kickback at kung paano ginamit at saan napunta ang pondo. Maaari silang pasalitain sa pagtuloy-tuloy ng impeachment proceeding na ito. Tinutukoy ko sina former Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin at Undersecretary Adrian Bersamin. Ito ang buong katotohanan. Si Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. ang pinakamalaking isda sa flood control corruption scandal. Ginawa niyang command center ng organized plunder ang Malacanang. Inagaw niya ang pondo para sa kalusugan ng mamamayan, para sa kickback ng ilan at direktang nag-utos ng 100 bilyong pisong insertion para tumanggap ng kickback. Malubhang pag-abuso ito sa kapangyarihan ng pagkapangulo at pagtaksil sa tiwalang ipinagkaloob sa kanya ng mga Pilipino. Dapat siyang ma-impeach. Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Sara Ilago.
Sa ngalan ng Gabriela Women's Party, inendorso namin ang reklamong impeachment laban kay Pangulong Marcos, nina Maza et al. Bilang bahagi ng tuloy-tuloy na paglaban sa korupsyon at mahalagang hakbang tungo sa pananagutan. Ang laban para managot ang lahat ng kurakot ay laban para sa kapakanan at kinabukasan ng mga pamilyang Pilipino. Kapag may korap, napakabigat ng tama sa mga kababaihan, lalong-lalo na ang mga mahihirap. Sa mga nanay na naghahanap buhay sa gitna ng tumataas na presyo ng bilihin, sa mga babaeng manggagawang pinipiga ng kontraktualisasyon at barat na sahod, at sa mga biktima ng karahasan na pinabayaan ng isang sistemang walang hustisya. We are endorsing this verified impeachment complaint, which presents acts of betrayal of public trust, demonstrating command responsibility and personal culpability of the President himself. The adoption and implementation of the baseline balance managed parametric formula which institutionalized systemic corruption sa sadyang paggawa at pagdisenyo ng sistema kung saan ang priorities of leaders ang mas sinusunod kaysa sa technical requirements at pangangailangan ng ating mga communities. Ang flood control program na dapat sana ay para sa pag-iwas sa sakuna at kaligtasan ng publiko ay ginawa ng makinarya para sa malawakang pagnanakaw. We have also seen how public funds meant for urgent national needs are turned into the administration's presidential pork barrel. Sa pag-authorize ng Pangulo sa release ng 213 billion pesos ng unprogrammed appropriations, kung saan ang 111 billion pesos para sa flood control projects na pinili batay sa priorities ng leaders lang, ang pondo para dapat sa pagtugon sa pagbabaha at kalamidad ay ginawang pondo para sa sistematikong katiwalian. Hindi ito basta lamang paggamit ng kapangyarihan, ito ay pagtataksil sa tiwala ng taong bayan. Dagdag pa, ang pagbibitiw ng kanyang mga pinakamatataas na opisyal matapos ang mga seryosong aligasyon ng mga kickback ay nagpapatunay na ang bakas ng katiwalian ay hanggang sa Malacanang. Wala man lang ipinatawag at humarap sa mga investigasyon sa kanila. May resignations pero wala man lang thorough investigation. Walang kahit anong investigasyon tungkol sa kinalaman mismo ng palasyo at ng Pangulo mismo bilang nasa tuktok ng kapangyarihan. Hindi ito pwedeng palusutin. Para po sa akin, bilang isa sa mga endorsers, the most painful proof of this betrayal of public trust is felt not just in these documents of the verified impeachment complaint, but in the lives of our people. Habang bilyong-bilyong piso ang kinakamkam ng mga kurakot sa ilalim ng pamumuno ng Pangulo, pasan-pasan ng mga ordinaryong Pilipino ang matataas at mabibigat na buwis. Ang value-added tax o VAT sa pagkain at mga pangunahing bilihin, excise tax sa langis, ang patuloy na pagtaas ng mga bayarin sa kuryente at iba pang utilities, ang lahat ng ito ay pumapasok sa kaban ng bayan. Isang kaban na direktang ninanakaw sa pamamagitan ng mga mekanismo na kanyang ginamit at naipatupad. Ang perang pinagpawisan ng mga manggagawa, ng mga driver, ng mga magsasaka, ng ordinaryong mamamayan ay napupunta sa mga bulsa ng mga kurakot. Therefore, I urge every member of the House Committee on Justice and of the entire House of Representatives, the substance of this complaint is more than sufficient. Makatwiran at makatarungan ang impeachment complaint na ito. Huwag nating ipagkait sa taong bayan ang karapatan sa katotohanan. Huwag nating ipagkait sa taong bayan ang karapatan sa pananagutan. Maraming salamat.
Before we proceed, may we acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Crispin Diego M. D. Remulla, Deputy Majority Leader, and the Honorable Bienvenido M. Abante from the 6th District of Manila. Thank you for coming. Now, Honorable Reneco.
Madam Chair, mga kapwa ko mambabatas at sa mamamayang Pilipino. Nasa harap ninyo ako ngayon bilang kinatawan ng kabataan at isa sa 3 miyembro ng Kamara na nag-endorso ng verified complaint mula sa taong bayan. 36 na individual mula sa iba't ibang sektor para sa impeachment ni Pangulong Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. dahil sa kanyang pagtataksil sa tiwala ng publiko sa kanya o betrayal of public trust na alinsunod sa konstitusyon ay isang marapat na batayan para matanggal siya sa kanyang pwesto. The Constitution says public office is a public trust. Iniutos ng saligang batas sa mga pampublikong opisyales na lagi silang magkaroon ng pananagutan sa taong bayan, mamuhay ng simple, at maglingkod sa mamamayan ng may pinakamataas na katapatan, responsibilidad, at integridad. Madam Chair, sa nagdaang mga buwan at taon, it has become clear to us that President Marcos Jr. has not heeded this constitutional command. It is for this reason that the people are charging him with betrayal of public trust. Ayon sa Korte Suprema, sa Gonzales III versus Office of the President, ito ay maituturing na gross faithlessness against public trust, tyrannical abuse of power, inexcusable negligence of duty, favoritism, gross exercise of discretionary powers, at iba pa, na nakakayurak sa interes ng publiko at nakakasira sa reputasyon ng opisina. May nakikita tayong 3 kagagawan na pasok sa definisyong ito. Una, pinagtaksilan niya ang tiwala ng publiko sa pag-institutionalize ng isang sistematikong iskema ng korupsyon sa pamamagitan ng pagbuo at pagpapatupad ng pinangalangang BBM Parametric Formula bilang opisyal na mekanismo ng alokasyon ng pondo para sa flood control projects at iba pang infrastructure projects ayon sa dikta ng mga opisyal ng administrasyon at leadership of the legislature, thereby converting the national infrastructure budget into a centralized apparatus for plunder. Ikalawa, sa ilalim ng termino ni Pangulong Marcos Jr., pinalobo niya ang unprogrammed appropriations sa mga halagang hindi pa kailanman nakita ng kasaysayan natin. Sa ilalim nitong iskema ng budget na kailangan ng direct approval ng Pangulo, kumuha ang Malacanang ng pera galing sa PhilHealth, PDIC, upang pondohan ng flood control projects na napatunayan ng bukal ng pangungurakot. Nagpapakita ito ng gross exercise of discretionary powers for purposes contrary to the duties of the office. Sumumpa ang Pangulo na itaguyod ang konstitusyon, pero sa pag-abuso sa unprogrammed appropriations ay sangkot siya sa paglabag nito, sa paglusot sa konstitusyonal na kapangyarihan ng Kongreso na itakda ang pambansang budget. Ikatlo, may mga testimonya na personal at direktang iniutos ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. ang pagpasok ng hindi bababa sa 100 bilyong pisong halaga ng mga maanumalyang flood control projects at iba pang proyekto ng infrastruktura sa 2025 General Appropriations Act. Si Yusek Bernardo mismo ang ginawang state witness ngayon sa mga kaso kontra korupsyon ang nagkumpirma na may nakuha nga ang Malacanang, bagay na kinikilala sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearings. Marami ang nanalig sa mga ulat at pangako sa SONA pa lamang ng Pangulo. Noong SONA 2024, may pinagmalaki na may natalang 5,500 na natayong flood control projects. Pero sa sunod na taon, lalabas na sa buong panahon pala ay wala raw kaalam-alam ang Pangulo sa pangungurakot dito. Kundi man ito pagpapanggap at panloloko sa publiko dahil sangkot siya, lantaran naman itong kapabayaan. Sumumpa ang Pangulo to, quote, do justice to every man, to consecrate himself to the service of the nation. At sa dulo, hindi naman po ito nakita. In the past year, we, the youth, heard time and time again of the expectation from us to take charge of our future. Para tuparin ang aming papel bilang pag-asa ng bayan, ito ang ginagawa namin ngayon. We will hold
public officials to account for their misspending, for the pesos that should have went to public and social services but went to personal interest. Wala na dapat makalusot. Ito ang panahon ng pananagutan. Sa inendorso naming verified impeachment complaint laban kay Pangulong Marcos Jr., sinasaad natin ang facts constituting betrayal of public trust. Wala pong rason kung bakit hindi dapat ito tumuloy-tuloy sa hearing proper. Bilang mga mambabatas, Madam Chair, hindi dapat tayo matakot na ungkatin ang katotohanan. Ang hiling ng kinatawang ito, let the Filipino people who suffered from disasters and lacking basic social services because of misuse and abuse of public funds see their day in court. Let the Filipino people repose their trust in a public office that deserves it and does not betray it. We, the Filipino youth, demand better leaders, and we deserve better leaders. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. That completes the endorsement of the Jesus complaint by Representative Nisay and the Masa et al. Complaint by Representative Tino, Representative Elago, and Representative Reneco. We shall now proceed to the determination of sufficiency in form. In compliance with the process, I understand that you've made mention, or the endorsers have made mention already about their position with respect to form, but nevertheless, we will be requesting them to make a formal manifestation with respect to their complaints, sufficiency in form, compliance to the sufficiency in form. We recognize the Honorable Nisay for his manifestation on the De Jesus impeachment complaint with respect to sufficiency in form.
Madam Chair, regarding po sa sufficiency in form, lahat po ng aking nabanggit ay malinaw na ginawa po natin kasama ang complainant para po matuloy ang impeachment complaint ng atin pong private citizen na si Attorney Andre De Jesus. Nakapaloob po dito ang 5 argumento na kung saan ito po ang gustong malaman ng taong bayan na kung saan ang problemang kinakaharap na to ay pinangungunahan ng ating presidente. At sa limang arguments po nakapaloob dito ang tatlong grounds kasama ang graft and corruption, pag-benefit mula sa mga kickbacks na nakalink sa mga budget insertions at ghost projects, ang pagbuo ng ICI o Independent Commission for Infrastructure upang magamit na depensa sa mga political allies na sangkot sa mga anomalyang flood control projects. Pangalawa, ang culpable violation of the Constitution, ang pagpayag na isurrender ang dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa ICC o International Criminal Court na walang due process sa ating sariling bansa. At ang pangatlo, ang betrayal of public trust, ang hindi pagbito sa mga program appropriations at special provisions nito sa ating mga national budget. Ang di umanong paggamit ng droga ng Pangulo at unfitness upang mamuno kasama rin po dito. So, Madam Speaker, Madam Chairman, naniniwala po ako na ang verified complaint ng atin pong private individual na si Attorney Andre De Jesus ay sufficient in form.
Thank you, Representative Nisay. For the guidance of the committee members, I wish to add that apart from the verification and as part of the formal requirements of the impeachment complaint, we have to check if it is signed by the complainant, if it is duly verified, if the verification is correct, which means it has to be based on personal knowledge or authentic records. We have to check as well whether the impeachment complaint is supported by a resolution of endorsement by at least one House member. Of course, we know for a fact already that our colleague, the Honorable Jet Nisay, is the endorser of the De Jesus complaint. Representative Nisay has manifested already his position that the Jesus complaint is sufficient in form. Now, the chair wishes to hear the comment of the committee members.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Bernadette Barbers is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, may I reiterate the points you've mentioned earlier? Under Article 11, Section 3, Paragraph 2 of the 1987 Constitution, a verified complaint for impeachment may be filed by any member of the House of Representatives or by any citizen upon a resolution of endorsement by any member thereof. The same provision is found under Rule 2, Section 2A and 3 of the Rules of Procedure in impeachment proceedings of the House of Representatives. The complaint was filed by Attorney Andre R. De Jesus, a citizen of the Philippines, is indicated in the verification. Thus, complies with the provisions of the Constitution and the House rules. May I also submit, Madam Chair, that the respondent is one of the impeachable officers enumerated under Section 2, Rule 11 of the 1987 Constitution. It states that the President, the Vice President, the members of the Supreme Court, the members of the Constitutional Commissions, and the Ombudsman may be removed from the office through impeachment. As earlier mentioned by the chairperson, impeachable officers are very specific and exclusive list of high-ranking officials. The respondent in this instant impeachment complaint is President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Barbers. For the guidance of the members, you can make your comments and positions about sufficiency in form without necessarily saying whether you agree or not with respect to its sufficiency in form, because later on, we will be voting. The committee will be voting on the sufficiency in form of these two impeachment complaints. Any other member who wish to comment to the position of Representative Nisay?
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Vice Chair Keith Flores is recognized.
Madam Chair, the impeachment complaint filed by Attorney Andre De Jesus contains a verification page, Madam Chair, and it states that he has read the complaint and have understood the contents thereof, and that the verified complaint are true and correct based on his personal knowledge and based on authentic documents. The same is likewise signed, Madam Chair. Likewise, the complaint is with the resolution of endorsement signed by Representative Journey Jet Nisay, who is a member of the House of Representatives and is a Deputy Minority Leader, a representative of the Pusong Pinoy Party List. The same was subscribed before the Secretary General, Attorney Chaloy Garafil, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair Keith Flores. Any other comment from the members?
Just to add.
May we know if the members were given copy? Because I understand that since last week, the Committee on Justice already forwarded the notice for today's hearing coupled with the copy of these two complaints, the Jesus complaint and the Masa et al. Complaint. If the members have no copy right now, kindly approach the committee secretariat so you can join the discussion as to the formalities necessary for the filing of this impeachment complaint. The Honorable Laila De Lima is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to add to the statements earlier, we should remember that this stage is merely a technical review.
That is correct.
Technical and ministerial review,
That is
akin
correct.
to determination of jurisdictional facts. So the complaint may be weak in substance and may contain exaggerated rhetoric, but it is not necessarily insufficient in form if it meets those requirements already mentioned, especially in writing, verified, accompanied by a resolution of endorsement, and that the identity of the impeachable officer is readily identifiable. The only thing that I noticed, Madam Chair, is that while the verification page bears the date, the petition proper itself does not bear.
Honorable De Lima, can you please speak closer to the
Oh, I'm
microphone?
sorry. The only thing that I notice is that while the verification itself bears the date of the verification, which is January 19, 2026, the body itself of the petition, the main petition after the prayer, does not bear the date. But I'm not sure whether it's something that can render the whole petition insufficient in form. But I agree that all the other requirements are there, because part of being signed should also be dated, and the date should be both on the petition and on the verification. Maybe I'm just being so technical about it, but I would still consider that this is sufficient in form in its totality. Thank
That is the De Jesus complaint.
you. The De Jesus complaint.
Okay, the observation of the Honorable De Lima about the blank date in the body of the De Jesus complaint is noted by the committee.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
The Honorable Tanwatco is recognized.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Maybe for the benefit of the members who just received the complaint, is it possible to flash on the screen the verification page just to look at the signature, and it can be confirmed anyway by the endorser representative?
We are directing the committee secretariat to kindly flash in the screen the De Jesus complaint, especially the verification part.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Vice Chair Garbin.
just a clarification on the verification of Attorney De Jesus. We made mention that it was subscribed before the Office of the Secretary General. Upon perusing the verification, and the jurat tells us that it was Attorney Ana Patricia Chua who administered the notary. So let me be clarified, Madam Chair, whether there was a separate
There are actually two documents that needs to be under oath. One is the verification and the other one is the endorsement. And the Honorable Vice Chair Keith Flores would like to comment to that.
Madam Chair, while the verification was notarized by a private lawyer, I think, the endorsement, the resolution of endorsement, which was signed by the Representative Jet Nisay, was subscribed to before the Secretary General, Madam Chair.
Thank you for that clarification, Madam Chair.
Any other member who wishes to comment to the sufficiency in form of the De Jesus complaint? If there are no other members
Chair,
who would
Madam Chair.
like to, the Honorable Chair Abante is recognized.
Are we not discussing the
Please
sufficiency?
speak closer to the
Are we
microphone.
not discussing the sufficiency in form here?
But this is a proceeding on the sufficiency in form.
Yes, Madam Chair, but I did not hear any explanation of Congressman Nitay on the sufficiency in form. What I heard was the complaint on impeachment. Ang narinig ko kanina, yung mga complaint on impeachment, hindi ko narinig yung explanation niya on sufficiency in form. Hindi pa natin pinag-uusapan dito yung substance. Ang pinag-uusapan natin dito, ang sufficiency in form. Kaya nais ko muna marinig ang paliwanag ni Congressman Nitay tungkol sa sufficiency in form. ng verified complaint na ito?
While the pronouncement of Representative Nisay is quite limited as to sufficiency in form, the chair heard it loud and clear when he said that the complaint of De Jesus is compliant with respect to sufficiency in form, and he made mention as well about the verification, unless Representative Nisay would like to make an additional manifestation.
Madam Chair, generally, a complaint is sufficient in form if it meets the formal requirement on its face. Sa ilalim ng rules, ang complaint dapat ay katulad ng nabanggit nyo kanina, verified under oath by the complainant through an affidavit stating that he has read and understood the contents of the complaint and that the allegations therein are true and correct based on his personal knowledge or authentic documents. So lahat po ng yan present naman sa ating complaint. Therefore, I am manifesting that the complaint is sufficient in form. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Bishop, I hope that satisfies the Honorable Abante. Any other member who wishes to comment on the sufficiency in form? Because otherwise, we will be proceeding to the determination of sufficiency in form of the second complaint. That is the Masa et al. Complaint.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Congressman Ridon is recognized.
I just wanted to be very clear on the topics of personal knowledge and authentic records, because for the record, I understand that in previous impeachment cases, the question of personal knowledge or authentic records is the crux on the sufficiency in form question. So I just wanted to know from the endorser whether or not the complaint is based first on personal knowledge or actually authentic records. Madam Chair.
The chair wishes to remind the committee members that our determination of form and substance should be confined in the impeachment complaint itself. As to whether or not it is indeed based on personal knowledge or authentic records, we will be proceeding to that on the proper time. But for the purpose of determination of sufficiency in form, what we're looking at right now is whether the verification is properly written, which means it has to include personal knowledge and authentic records.
I submit, Madam Chair.
May we flash on the screen for the benefit of those who wish to see the impeachment complaint. This is the verification part. Can you please zoom? What is significant in the verification is actually paragraph 3. And paragraph 3 reads, the allegations in the verified complaint are true and correct based on my personal knowledge or based on authentic documents. That is for consideration, of course, of the committee members.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Suntay is recognized.
Thank you. Madam Chair, in the determination of sufficiency in form, three things are important. Verification, endorsement, proper content and structure. The complaint is duly verified. It contains a sworn affidavit of the complainant affirming that he has read the complaint and that its allegations are true to his personal knowledge. There is an endorsement coming from the Honorable Nisay, and well, if it contains the proper structure, well, the names of the parties are there, the designation of the offense and actual omission. I believe that the complaint is sufficient in form.
Thank you, Congressman Suntay. The Honorable Vice Chair Dumogan is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is clear enough. So let us vote for the issue on sufficiency.
We will come to that,
in
Vice
form.
Chair.
Madam
Okay.
Chair.
I think we have exhausted already our discussions as to sufficiency in form of the De Jesus complaint. We shall now proceed to our discussion on the sufficiency in form of Masa et al. Complaint. But let us hear first the manifestation of position of our endorsers. The Honorable Representative Tino is recognized.
Madam Chair, I defer to
Madam Chair,
Representative Ilago.
Madam Chair,
With the indulgence of the Honorable Tino, the Honorable Rodriguez is
let
recognized.
us first, matter of order. We have already discussed, and there's a presentation of the congressman endorsing the complaint. There has been statements that they are informed. I think we should now vote. We should not vote on the first one before we go to the second one. Yes, so I ask for a vote, Madam Chair, for the sufficiency in form of the De Jesus complaint as endorsed by Congressman Jet Nisay. So move, Madam Chair.
There is a motion
I-
to vote on the sufficiency in form of the Jesus complaint. Do I
Second.
hear a second?
Second, Madam Chair.
The same has been seconded. So the motion is granted. The chair is now ready to hear the necessary motion.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable
Madam
Amben Abante is
Madam
recognized.
Chair, I move to declare the impeachment complaint filed by Attorney Andre R. De Jesus sufficient and informed.
That's already been moved by me. It's already been moved. So let us move on the prior motion.
The
and we have
understanding
to
of the
vote or
chair
not.
about the motion of the Honorable Rodriguez is a motion to vote already about the sufficiency in form of the Jesus complaint. And that is why I solicited a second, and the chair granted that motion to vote already. Now we are entertaining the motion to declare the Jesus complaint as sufficient in form as raised by the Honorable Amben Amante.
Vote of the, Madam Chair, the motion to vote, if it is voted in favor, it's approved. It is therefore voted in form as sufficient. So there's no need for another motion to declare. Because I already moved to vote, and with that vote, it will result on either its referral back to the Secretary General because it is insufficient in form, or it is approved, is sufficient in form, and we proceed to the next step. Thank you, Madam Chair.
With the indulgence of the Honorable Rodriguez, the chair was listening very well when he raised the motion of voting already about the sufficiency in form of the Jesus complaint. And the intention of the chair when she recognized Honorable Rodriguez and even solicited a second to that motion is to resolve whether or not we will be doing the voting now or after we deliberate on the sufficiency in form of the second impeachment complaint. So with the indulgence of the Honorable Rodriguez, I hope we can proceed. We have granted the motion to do the voting now, and now we are entertaining the motion to declare the Jesus complaint as sufficient in form. There is a motion to declare the Jesus complaint as sufficient in form as raised by the Honorable Amben Amante. The same has been seconded. Is there any objection?
I object, Madam Chair.
There
I did not properly hear the explanation on that sufficiency in form. And that is what I would like to hear. And because of this, I object.
There is a motion to declare the Jesus complaint as sufficient in form. The same has been objected to by the Honorable Abante, and therefore we will be dividing the House. Those who are in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Comsec, please count. All right, did we get the number? Those who are not in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Those who abstain, please raise your right hand. With 46 votes in favor, 1 vote against, and 1 abstain, the chair declares the De Jesus complaint as sufficient in form. Now we shall proceed to our determination of sufficiency in form of the Masa et al. Complaint. May we request the endorser to manifest their respective positions. The Honorable Elago.
Yes, Madam Chair. With regard to the determination of sufficiency in form of the Marcos impeachment complaint filed by Masa et al., based on our rules of procedure in impeachment proceedings, there are 2 important questions to be asked. Number 1, is the complaint verified and endorsed properly? And second, is the complaint subscribed and sworn to by the complainants before a notary public? The answer to both questions is yes, Madam Chair. So it is the position of this endorser, these endorsers, that this verified complaint filed by Masa et al. Is sufficient in form. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Elago. We would like to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Milagros Aquino Magsaysay. For the guidance of everyone, the committee is counting the vote of only the members and the ex officio members and those who, the non-members who were deputized. Again, justice members, ex officio members, and non-members who were deputized by ex officio members. That's for the guidance of all the members. We have concluded on the manifestation of position of the Honorable Elago. May we hear the manifestation of the 2 other endorsers?
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Tino is recognized.
I have the same manifestation, so that will suffice as far as
Thank
I'm
you.
concerned. Thank you.
I have similar manifestations, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Ko. Now we will be listening to the comments of the members of the Justice Committee.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Janice Digamo is recognized.
Madam Chair, as stated in the endorsement of the impeachment complaint, there are 36 Filipino citizens who filed the complaint composed of leaders and members of different organizations from the marginalized and underrepresented sectors. So it is my humble submission that the impeachment complaint filed by Lisa Masa and 35 other complainants complies with the requirement as to who can file an impeachment complaint. Under the Constitution and the House Rules of Procedure in impeachment proceedings, an impeachment complaint may be filed by any member of the House of Representatives or by any citizen upon a resolution of endorsement by any member thereof. As to the personality of the respondent, the President is among those listed as impeachable officers under Section 2, Rule 11 of the 1987 Constitution. It states that the President, the Vice President, the members of the Supreme Court, the members of the Constitutional Commissions, and the Ombudsman may be removed from office on impeachment. This constitutional provision is reiterated under Section 1, Rule 1 of the Rules of Procedure in impeachment proceedings by the House of Representatives. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. May we hear from any other member?
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Po is recognized.
Madam Chair, I want to bring up 2 points in terms of the form. First and foremost, I want to point out that as stated by...
Honorable Po, kindly speak closer to the microphone.
Sure. Madam Chair, so I would like to point out 2 points. First and foremost, as stated by a Congresswoman Sara Ilago, they did actually have their complaints signed and verified, and to make sure that this is true and correct based on their personal knowledge or based on authentic records po. And this is not filed, to be clear, this is not filed to harass or cause any unnecessary delays. This is also important in verifying the documents. Second point that I want to bring up, and this is something that I think our fellow Filipinos should also take note of when it comes to our rules. Importante at mahalaga na meron tayong miyembro ng Kongreso na mag-endorse po dito sa complaints. Dito sa MASA complaint, we have Representatives Tino, Sara Ilago, and of course Congresswoman Ko as the endorsers, making it a proper endorsement. This endorsement was also filed on January 26, 2026, and it was subscribed before the Secretary General, meaning she was present during this filing. And these are all important provisions which make it a verified document. And I would like to point out that in terms of the form, these seem to be all complete.
Thank you, Honorable Po. Other observations from the members? Honorable Chua?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, we've been talking about verifications and oath, but hindi naman po natin pinapa-identify yung signature. So I think that is very important because maybe later on, baka biglang itanggi yung signature. May I ask, Madam Chair, if the complainant or complainants are present in today's committee hearing?
Madam Chair,
The Honorable De Lima?
thank you. I think it's unnecessary because there is a presumption of authenticity of signatures unless someone or anyone questions it. Then it becomes an issue, that would necessitate asking the affiant or the signatory to confirm or not his or her signature. So that is unnecessary.
And
Honorable Chua?
yes, but I think that is very important. Why? Because we are talking here of the sufficiency in form. And one of the very important in the form is the signature itself. Otherwise, baka later on biglang itanggi, paano po yun? And in fact, there are several instances na sinasabi, hindi kanila yung signature. So have we also invited the notary public? Hindi rin naman, wala rin naman po dito yung notary public para mag-verify na humarap po sa kanya talaga yung tao. So if we are talking here of sufficiency in form, hindi po ba ito mahalagang tanong din? But of course, I will submit to the wisdom of the body.
The Honorable Suntay?
Yes, Madam Chair. I think that would be simply answer the complainant who also endorsed the verified complaint for impeachment of present. And they actually sponsored it. So the authenticity of the signature is easily verified by just asking them. And because they're present, I believe that they're affirming that it's their signature.
While we recognize the point of the Honorable Chua, let it be known that only the members and the endorsers were invited in today's hearing. As mentioned earlier by the Honorable De Lima, the determination of form and substance are preliminary. The hearing proper will be happening on the later part of our proceeding after we have concluded on the determination of form and substance. No? We recognize the significance of the opinion and observation of the Honorable Chua, but nevertheless, let us confine ourselves to what appear in the impeachment complaint.
Madam Chair?
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Rodriguez?
Yes, the complaint of Masa et al., my good friends, former Congresswoman Masa and also Congressman Casino, is not sufficient in form. If you read the complaint, it is not a verification after the complaint, but a jurat. It says subscribe and sworn to. This is not the verification that is required under the Constitution, under our rules. Can you kindly take a look? Can you show there?
Yeah, may
The
we
end
request
of
the
the complaint.
Secretariat to flash
It
the
is a
complaint?
jurat, subscribe and form. There's no statement here about a verified complaint.
Madam Chair, the copy that I have.
The
and I
Honorable
guess-
De Lima.
Sorry. Thank you, Madam Chair. The copy that I have, and I guess the other members would have that, really contains a verification page.
Kindly speak closer to the microphone.
I see that there is a
verification.
verification page alleging the necessary facts there in accordance with
Meron.
Section 3, Rule 2 of the Rules of Impeachment, Rules of Procedure in Impeachment Proceedings, that it is the complainants or the complainants read and understood the contents thereof, and that the most important, the allegations therein are true and correct of our personal knowledge or based on authentic records and documents. That is the needed allegation or averment in a verification. The number 4 and number 5, not necessary anymore. It's actually required in the certification. So if it's a verification and certification requirement, then we can consider number 4 and number 5. But for purposes of verification, under the rules, it's only about that the allegations are true and correct of our personal knowledge or based on authentic records and documents. I see it here. There is a verification duly signed by all the complainants.
The Honorable Rodriguez.
I have read that. It is after the verification of the endorser. But if you will read here, verification, signature, there's no notarization. No notarization of the verification itself. I oppose those two because I have read this for the past week. And
Kindly flash the
certainly we
complaint.
wish to hear it, but if it is insufficient in form, it cannot go. So look first at the jurat. At the end, verification should be at the end of the complaint. Where it will say that it is of the personal knowledge or it's sufficient. If you say personal knowledge or authentic records, that's fine. That is in our civil procedure and our criminal procedure. But here, if you will see the verification, Mr. Chairman, Madam Chair, the verification has no signature of a notary public. So there is no sufficiency in form. The verification, which is attached to the endorsement, there is none. There is no notarization.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Honorable Vice Chair Keith Flores.
Is the copy of the Honorable Rufus Rodriguez, does it contain the last page, sir, where there is that page is attached?
Secretary, kindly double
Maybe
check the copy.
they failed to
No,
attach
Madam
the
Chair.
copy.
the notarization is on the jurat, on the last page. It's on the jurat, and the jurat is not a verification.
And not on the actual verification itself. Madam Chair.
Sir, it's not verification. If you look at the verification itself, which they attach after the verification of the 3, there is no notarization. After Kathleen Gaya de Guzman, no notarization. So how can there be a valid verification?
Madam Chair.
The page before that, Congressman
Chair.
Rufus Rodriguez, also includes, can we flash the page before that, please?
Madam Chair,
Comsec.
point of clarification before we can answer that one.
Let us wait until the speaker finishes first before we call the rest.
Comsec, can we
Madam
flash
Chair.
the page before that?
Vice Chair Tumogan, we will call you after we have flashed that page containing the jurat.
May I know if we have the same copies? Because
That
We
one-
are supposed to have the same copies, but nonetheless,
if that
we
is
are
so-
flashing this page on the screen that contains the jurat.
Because if,
Yeah, that's
If-
right.
if-
Subscribe and sworn to.
yes.
That is a
eh,
jurat. It's not a verification. Go to the next
That-
page. It is notarized, correct? Go to the
that
next
is
page.
correct. That's why I'm asking, do we have the same copies?
Yes, I
If
think
the
we have the
answer
same.
is yes,
Yes.
then Congressman Rodriguez.
We're
is
supposed to
correct.
have the same copies.
So therefore,
This
there is
only
no,
jurat.
there's no,
not a
only jurat. So
verification.
therefore, there is no sufficiency in form.
The chair examined the copy of the complaint, but prior to this jurat, there is a verification signed by the complainants.
Yes, but no
Although it doesn't bear the
notarization.
page.
Therefore, it is self-serving. It's not public record. It is not something to bind us because there is no after the signature.
We will be suspending to check the copy of the Honorable Rodriguez.
Okay, itong kopya ko. There is no signature.
We take note of the observation of the Honorable Rodriguez. Nonetheless, we have checked this copy. I believe this one is complete, no? At the end of the complaint, there is verification. They were signed by the complainants. It is 2 pages because they have a lot of complainants, more than 32. And then after the signature of the complainants, we have the jurat. The jurat is supposed to be the oath to the verification. And then the names and the identification of the complainants. And then on the last page, the administering officer of the jurat, the notary public. I hope this satisfies the Honorable Rodriguez.
Madam Chair, we really would like your impeachment complaints to be heard. But the first requirement in the Constitution and our rules is sufficiency in form. If we will go back again, after the complaint, there is a verification. The only, that was where it is signed. But there is no notarization on that. And then it goes to the jurat. The jurat, there are no signatures, and the jurat was the one that was notarized. It really is a lack, is insufficient in form. We cannot proceed with a complaint where the verification is not notarized, and its jurat has not been signed, and it is the one notarized. So we have to stick to legal rules, Madam Chair. In the rules, our rules on criminal procedure apply supplementarily. So there can be, it's just like a complaint which is not signed and not properly identified and verified. So therefore, it's clear. If you flash again, I would like to have this flash, Madam Chair, so that everybody will know, including the public. Can we go to the verification
Madam Chair.
after the complaint and then the jurat and the signature? Because it is, we are lawyers here. We are trying to have the legal proceedings in proper order based on the law.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Arisa is recognized.
Madam Chair, if you will look at the first complaint, it's the same thing. Yung verification po, hindi notarized. Yun lang pong jurat ang notarized. It's the same thing.
It's not the same thing, Mr. Chair.
It's the same thing.
To answer,
This
Madam
is-
Chair, it's not the same.
It's the same thing. This is the copy.
Yeah, it is verification and then the signature of the notary public. You see? It is different.
No, there's no notary public. In my copy, there's no
It
notary.
is Ana, Patricia, Ana is as in Biloso, Ana, Patricia, Chua.
Yes,
It's the
page 13 and
Madam
14.
Chair.
Page 14.
Yes.
Okay, can we check
Point of order, Madam Chair. Point of order.
to satisfy the needed comparison between the first and the second impeachment complaint? Can we flash again the verification
Chair.
of the De Jesus complaint?
Madam Chair,
Please
point
wait
of
for your
order.
turn as we call one after the other all the members of the House who wishes to make
Yun.
their manifestation.
Madam Chair, point of order. Point of order muna ako.
The Honorable Abante is recognized.
These people are arguing without even addressing the chairman. My goodness, pare-pareho naman tayo legislator dito. Alam na natin ang utos dito eh. Address the chairman first before you ever argue with one another.
Madam Chair, this representation apologizes to the Honorable Chair because sometimes we cut in because in answer, but Chairman Abante is right, and we should always address before addressing the committee the permission of the chair. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you. The chair is in possession of the complaint of De Jesus. And my observation is, it is the same as the complaint of Masa et al. There is verification signed by the complainant. It is followed by the jurat, subscribed and sworn to, and then signed by the notary public. Then let me go back to Masa et al. There is a verification signed by the so many complainants. After the two-page signature follows the jurat, subscribed and sworn to. And then at the end of all the names and identification cards, identification of the complainants is the signature of the notary public.
Madam Chair, short manifestation, Madam Chair.
The Honorable Vice Chair Garbin is recognized.
I confirm your findings on the verification of the Masa complaint. The verification
as together with it the jurat, would yield the same date, Madam Chair. It was verified and signed by the complainants January 22, 2026. The jurat also yield the same date, January 22, 2026, Madam Chair. I submit.
Thank you. Well, everybody's observation are being noted by the committee. But anyway, we will be proceeding to vote later on. And just to conclude, the position of the endorsers as to the sufficiency in form. May we hear from the endorsers with regards to the comment of the Honorable Rufus Rodriguez?
Madam Chair, we respectfully reiterate our manifestation earlier that our this verified complaint, which we have endorsed, complies in sufficiency in form. The matter of fact of the notarial seal being on a separate page is due to the volume of signatures of the complainants. There are 36, and they cannot fit in just one page. And nonetheless, it could be a matter of one could argue notice can be taken of the fact of complainants swearing to the notary of the items in the verification that was heavily covered by the media on that day. And you could also witness the notary also providing his notarial seal and his signature on all the documents provided. And with that, Madam Chair, we once again respectfully submit that this complaint is sufficient in form. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Suntay.
Madam Chair, I think the best evidence to show if it is sufficient in form or if the document is notarized is the document itself. Let us, maybe what should be presented is not the statement, but the document so that we could see.
So we have flashed the actual complaint in the screen, and I believe that most of the members are equipped with copy of the same already. And we've made our comparison also between the De Jesus and the Masa et al. Complaint. It is observed that they are one and the same in as far as verification and jurat are concerned, no? So if there are no other comments or manifestations on sufficiency in form of Masa et al. Complaint, then the chair is ready to hear the necessary motion.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Erice is
I
recognized.
move that we declare the Masa complaint as sufficient in form. So move.
Do I hear a second?
I'd like to object again, Madam Chair.
Okay. There is a motion.
I think,
The-
Madam Chair,
Honorable Abante?
I think I have definite reasons why I am objecting.
Yes, please state your
Number
reason
one,
why you're
number one.
objecting.
What Congressman Chua has raised a moment ago is important. Now, we are not talking about any fast rules here. Every member of this House has the right to question, whatever the question might be, Madam Chair. Therefore, the question of Congressman Chua should be tackled. Number two, I also object on the argument raised by Congressman Rodriguez. And number three, Madam Chair, nakita ko po dito, in-exhibit nila yung competent evidence of identity. Pero wala po dito yung documents if they are indeed taxpayers, Madam Chair. Sapagkat nakalagay sa endorsement, they should be taxpayers. Therefore, I question if all of these 36 complainants are actually taxpayers. Kung taxpayers yan, dapat mag-submit ng document yan dito na sila ay taxpayers. If indeed wala, therefore, insufficient ang form na pinapaliwanag dito. And therefore, Madam Chair, I object.
We are noting the explanation of the Honorable Abante with regards to his objection. Nonetheless, we shall be proceeding to vote on the sufficiency in form of Masa et al. Complaint. There is a motion to declare Masa et al. Complaint
Point of order,
sufficient
Madam
in
Chair.
form.
Point of order.
The same has been objected to.
Point of order.
Those who are in favor, we shall now divide the House. The Honorable Ridon.
Who has seconded the motion, Madam Chair? Who has seconded? It hasn't
Who
been
seconded?
seconded.
It's Kong Noy Defensor. Because I heard a lot of second. Okay. So we shall now divide the House. Those who are in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Those who are not in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Continue. Those who abstain, please raise your right hand. Comsec, the vote, please. With 35 in favor, 9 against, and 1 abstain, the chair declares the Masa et al. Complaint sufficient in form.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Abante.
it is very clear that there is insufficiency in form. Very clear po yan. And I'm so glad for the rest of those, my colleagues that supported my objection. And therefore, realizing that this is actually an exercise in futility and a waste of the people's money, I therefore would like to walk out of this hearing right now.
The manifestation is noted. We have concluded the determination in form of both the Jesus complaint and Masa et al. Complaint. If there are any other matters the member wish to discuss before we suspend? No other matters? There being no other matters to discuss, the meeting is suspended until 10 a.m. tomorrow, February 3, 2026. The members present today are considered informed in open hearing of the meeting tomorrow. In accordance with the rules, the committee will determine the sufficiency in substance of the impeachment complaints tomorrow. Meeting is suspended.